May I request Most Reverend Felix Machado, the Archbishop of Hussain, and the Secretary General, Bishops' Conference of India, who has all the way come from Mumbai, only for this Hussain Day, to kindly deliver his address. In fact, we were planning a World Global Hussain Day in Karbala before COVID. In 2020, just before COVID, we wanted to have, and Most Reverend Felix Machado is very close to the Vatican, and he promised us to get the Cardinal, who is in charge of inter-religious harmony movement, to Karbala. Inshallah, we shall have a global Hussain Day very soon. Over to Most Reverend Felix Machado.
Allah's salam. Peace be with you. Shanti. Dear brothers, the contemporary world, multifaceted and ever-changing, is hit by multiple crises of different kind. Wars, conflict, and terrorism are sometimes the cause, sometimes the effect of economic as well as social inequality and of the unjust distribution of the goods of creation. From these inequities, poverty, unemployment, and exploitation are generated. We are faced with a process which has been properly described as an epoch-making change. It highlights a decadent humanism often based on the paradigm of indifference. But dear friends, the list of problems could be longer, but we must not overlook the encouraging opportunities that the world of today presents. The globalization of relations is also the globalization of solidarity, and this is an example of solidarity. The globalization of relations, we have seen many examples of this on occasion of the great humanitarian tragedies caused especially by COVID-19. Also war or natural disasters, solidarity as well as initiatives of support and charity have involved citizens from all corners of the world. The different religions, based on their respect for each human person, contribute significantly to building fraternity and defending justice in society. The story of Karbala comes to my mind when the grandson of the Prophet of Islam, Allah's Islam, while proceeding towards Kufa, was attacked. Many joined him to support his fight against the evil forces. Not just Muslims, but also some like Wahab Abdullah Kalbi, who was a Christian, also joined Imam Hussain because it was a fight for justice. Believers of the different religions know that our common witness against injustice not only benefits our societies, but above all brings credibility to us religious believers. I'm delighted to be sitting together with my brothers here of different faiths, different religions. Similarly, in recent years, social initiatives such as Who is Hussain? Other movements and associations have arisen in favor of a more equitable globalization, which is attentive to the requirements of people in need. Many of these initiatives are often taken and supported, like the blood donation camps, by citizens of well-off countries who could selfishly enjoy the benefits of inequalities but often prefer fighting for the principles of social justice with generosity and determination. Among the most important causes of the crisis of the modern world are a desensitized human conscience, a distancing from religious values, and the prevailing individualism accompanied by materialistic philosophies that deify the human person and introduce worldly and material values in place of supreme and transcendent principles. Room needs to be made for reflections born of religious traditions such as our Hindu Dharma, Christianity, our Islam, that are repository of centuries of experience and wisdom. We cannot and must not remain on the sidelines in the building of a better world. We should stand for social equality. That is the theme of today's convention. We should stand for social equality. Who is Hussain Foundation, supported by Laureate E&W Foundation, which helps Iraqi children with congenital heart disease at Narayana Health City, is a good example of building a better world. Attention to the common good, the good of everyone and of all people, and a concern for integral development advances humanity and universal fraternity, making the world a family of families, a home with open doors. I appeal to everyone to be sign of unity and reconciliation, always standing for social equality, building bridges, breaking down walls, and sowing the seeds of reconciliation. Defending the dignity of every man and woman is also an integral part of our religious practice. We don't just go to mandirs and mosques and churches, gurudwaras to pray, but we also must help our brothers and sisters in need. Friends, a journey of peace is possible between religions. This is an example. Its point of departure must be God's way of seeing things. God does not see with his eyes. God sees with his heart. And God's love is the same for everyone, regardless of which religion one belongs. Let us all believers find occasions to speak with one another and act together for the common good, social equality, and promotion, especially of the poor amongst us. We believers are challenged to return to our sources of our religion, sources in order to concentrate on what is essential, worship of God and love of neighbor, lest some of our teachings taken out of context end up feeding forms of contempt, hatred, xenophobia, or negation of others. The truth is that violence has no basis in our fundamental religious convictions, but only in their distortion. Let us recognize the fundamental values of our common humanity, values in the name of which we can and we must cooperate among ourselves. We must build and we must dialogue. We must pardon and we must all grow together. This will allow different voices to unite in creating a melody of sublime nobility and beauty instead of fanatical cries of hatred. Friends, it is important to hold on and respect one's own identity and also that of others, to have courage to accept differences and sincerity of intentions, because true dialogue cannot be built on ambiguity or a willingness to sacrifice some good for the sake of pleasing others. The courage to accept differences, because those who are different, either culturally or religiously, should not be seen or treated as enemies, but rather welcomed as fellow travelers in the genuine conviction that the good of each resides in the good of all. Sincerity of intentions, because dialogue as an authentic expression of our humanity is not a strategy for achieving specific goals, but rather a path of truth, satyam, one that deserves to be undertaken patiently in order to transform competition into cooperation. The commandment of peace is inscribed in the depths of the religious traditions that we all represent. It is because we believe in God, we are called to be true people of dialogue, to cooperate in building peace, not as intermediaries, but as authentic mediators. Each one of us is called to be an artisan of peace, by uniting and not by dividing, by extinguishing hatred and not holding on to it, by opening paths of dialogue and not by constructing new walls. Finally, a culture of dialogue does not simply suggest an exchange of views to know one another so as to mitigate the alienating effect of the encounter between citizens of different cultures. True dialogue takes place within an ethical framework of requirements and attitudes for formation as well as social objectives. The ethical requirements for dialogue are freedom and social equality. The participants in the dialogue, like that of Wahab Abdullah Kalbi, must be free from their contingent interests and must be prepared to recognize the dignity of all parties. These attitudes are supported by the consistency with one's own specific universe of values. This results in the general intention to match actions with words. Yes, it was said that we just don't speak, listen, and go away, but we must put into practice what we listen, what we speak. In other words, to link the ethical principles we proclaim, for example, peace, fairness, respect, democracy, etc., with social and civic choices. It is a grammar of dialogue, as pointed out by Pope Francis, able to build bridges and to find answers to the challenges of our time. I pray that all of us sit in the mood of prayer, and I pray, O most merciful and compassionate God, who are perfect unity and true charity, and who gave one origin to all peoples and willed to gather all peoples from wherever they are into one family for yourself, fill our hearts, we pray, with the fire of your love, and kindle in them a desire for the just advancement of their neighbor, that through the good things which you richly bestow upon all, each human person may be brought to perfection, every division may be removed, and equity and justice may be established in human society and in our beloved country, our Bharat Mata. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.